For more info on the topic, focus, and guest of the episode, please check the description below. Please enjoy. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Inky Thoughts podcast. Today's another episode with a returning guest, and this time a returning topic as well. We're going to dive into the mental health of tattoo artists again, and I couldn't help but invite my guest today along for a return episode because she actually deals with mental health in one of her backgrounds. You know, she's a mental health coach and tattoo artist. Couldn't be a better person to invite along. And if you don't recognize my guest, I'll do the introduction this time, actually. This is CeeJ, the cover-up queen, as she may also be called by some. She is a brilliant artist and mental health coach in her academic background, so to speak. She has a master's degree in it, much like myself with my own master's degree. So not only she has first-hand experience as a tattoo artist and dealing with clients' mental health and her own experiences in the industry, but she also has some professional knowledge about the mental health side and how to deal with that. So, CeeJ, how have you been?
Oh, well, that was quite the introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I've been great. Everything's been great. Still fighting this fight against mental health stigmas and all the great things. So I have no complaints over here. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. You said it there, one of the reasons why it's often overlooked, I think. I mean, not speaking for academia right now, but there's a different reason there. But we often mainly talk about client mental health in regards to tattoos.
Right.
We don't often talk about the artist side of it.
Right.
Because I think part of it is what you said there, that there's some stigma in the community and in the industry about admitting to it.
Yes, absolutely. On top of that, I think too, it's the freedom that we have as artists, but also the nature of our industry. Because we don't work a traditional 9-to-5 job, people feel as though we have it a lot easier than most people, and sometimes we do. But I think it makes it a bit more challenging for outsiders and sometimes for peers to validate the struggles that we go through when they approach it with that mindset. So, instead of having a 9-to-5 job, it goes to 24 hours. And that's just, these are things, or just taking into account how taxing certain designs can be, or just the hours that we put in. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I think it's definitely overlooked just because of, it can be seen as we're just drawing on people when it's not, when it's not really that simple, for sure.
I think that's very correct, that there's this oversimplification, but I also think you hit the nail on the head with the whole, it's not a 9-to-5, so people think, you must have such control, so you can't have mental health issues. But the thing is, people don't often think about that, but you also sit for long hours at a time with a client, and they might be telling you all sorts of stuff. And even if you are prepared and have the capacity to listen, it's still rough to hear about, for example, people's trauma or people's horrible. So even the good stuff can feel a lot when people are just laying it on you.
Absolutely, it can be a lot. It can be very heavy on top of the mental, just the mental gymnastics you have to go through to kind of create the designs that clients love, and making sure they're going to be satisfied with the outcome of what you decide to put together. So there's definitely a lot of layers to it, but I would definitely say the freedom aspect of it is something that is a big reason why I feel like people kind of overlook the artist's mental health. But also there's like this unspoken pressure in the industry, which I feel like can make some artists kind of reluctant to like speak up about, or just vocalize that they're having mental health issues. Like there's always this pressure to perform, to be great, to always promote your business. So there's so many layers to it that you're having to figure out a balance outside of, you might have kids, you might have a wife, you might have a family you have to tend to. You have your own bills you got to pay. So just trying to create that balance, being your own boss is a lot. It's a blessing, but there's a lot of balance. That's the main word that you have to create in your life, for sure.
There's a lot of juggling different roles and responsibilities in it.
Yeah.
At least, even though people don't see it, when you have a normal 9-to-5, all your work is sort of contained.
Right. And
You
there's
have, and
also
you have
there's
more of a breathing space as well.
absolutely, and there's a bit of, and there's also instability
Yeah.
that there's an instability piece that goes there because it's not, because of what we do as a luxury. It's not it's not guaranteed that we're going to have this tattoo appointment tomorrow that's going to pay our rent or that's going to pay our electric bill or whatever. So there's so many layers to it. Well, yeah, it is fun, but you really have to, there's like a certain level of delusion you have to have. And I think you have to have that in any industry, right? Like, just, it's all going to work out. But
Yeah.
you also have to make sure, you have to do the things to make sure that it works out and that you're doing the things to set yourself up for success, which I think sometimes we miss that step a little bit.
I mean, it requires a lot more planning than I think many people are willing to admit or sometimes see, at least. Which I think for the older generations in the industry, and I'm sorry if this rubs anybody the wrong way who might be watching this, but
Cause
the thing is,
I'm in the older, so you're fine.
I mean, but the thing
The
is,
20
like,
plus.
especially the really old timers, they sort of learned this by doing, and because there wasn't the same amount of crisis with the same rapidness or anything like that, or the same notice of mental health, and a lot more the power dynamic was way less fluid and stuff like that. So they just learned it throughout the years. Whereas here, you have to learn it quite quickly now, I think. Like, and you
Absolutely.
don't. That's the thing. Like, so to people, so I think a lot of young artists, especially, come in and just think it's going to be this awesome, like,
It's
oh yeah,
like
it's
this
just going to be a
overnight
hangout. It's just going to
success.
be,
It's an overnight
yeah,
success, and an overnight success. It takes about 10 years to create an overnight
yeah.
success. So
And
I think,
it's all the planning they miss, Like, they don't see that when they get in the door. Most don't. Some do. Some might be lucky, learn it from a good teacher or master. Some might learn it from the right other sources. But for a lot of them, I think they don't really notice before they get into it how
yeah,
much planning they need to get used to suddenly.
yeah. I think social media has done a really good job of creating like this microwave culture where
Mm.
everything is like on a fast track. So
Yeah.
you're not really seeing that preparation. You're not seeing the hours of you drawing things up, or you drawing even when you're not at the shop. You talking to clients, you networking with other artists, you going to different seminars, or the money that you had to invest to be in this industry, and knowing like this is not going to be as quick of a return as I think it's going to be. It takes time. But that's in anything you do, especially if you want to be good at it. So
Mm.
I think social media has a little bit of responsibility in that, and I think it it's really, it's a double edged sword. It's been great to get your work out there for exposure, but I think it also feeds into comparison, where
Yeah.
like you could be doing great, but you're
Yeah.
not. It doesn't perform well, so have you feeling like, okay, well, I'm not a great artist. You start to get into your head. You start to doubt your own ability and feel like you don't have what it takes to thrive in this
Mm.
industry. So it's tough. I think that's why the mental health piece is so important. Like, you have to have
Yeah.
a very strong mental health game in order to endure within any industry, especially now, especially as an entrepreneur, for sure.
But the part of it is also what you're talking about there with this social media has made it so that you're constantly watching what other artists are doing, and you
Hmm.
feel constantly watched as well.
Yeah.
To use an old sociologist term, there's sort of a panopticon, to say. We all start surveying one another, or how well are they doing, or how well am I doing compared to them, and I think that exacerbates how much imposter syndrome people feel, because beforehand you might just compare yourself with the artist you knew, or the artist in your studio, or the artist down the road, or in the city over. It's smaller. It
It's bigger
wasn't
now.
necessarily across the planet. You would constantly, and you might
Bigger.
see, look at artists from around the world in a magazine now and then and compare yourself a bit to them. But there was a bit more of a certain mental distance there. There was a bit more of a logic to it. You would think, oh yeah, he's doing some amazing work. I want to be that good one day.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't the same feeling of like, oh, they're doing so much better than me. I am so shit. Like, people have sadly started doing this horrible downput of themselves, I feel, sometimes,
I and
because of social
yeah.
media.
And I also feel like there's been a bigger emphasis on stepping away from the art of
Yeah.
tattooing. And I think that's the piece that people are missing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, being a good tattooer is great, but that only kind of locks you in to a certain type of tattoo, to a certain type of style where you're kind of, you really don't have that creative that create that room to be creative.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's just very interesting to see the shifts, the different shifts that the industry has been taking. But it's important to note, so you're able to keep up with the changes that are being presented. But I think a lot of it, there's people that are I think a lot of people see the lifestyles that we live, or just again like the freedom that we have, and they're like, oh well, I want that. Whatever I gotta do to get whatever I gotta do to get that. And then you have some artists out here who are very predatory, and they take advantage of people like that, and they're just like, okay, well, hey, if you don't have a degree or you don't have a good job or you're miserable at the job you're at, come tattoo. And then like you can make 6 figures this year, and just kind of promoting this, just kind of like glamorizing it. And there's glamour to it, but you're missing the parts where it's like, man,
but
this sucks. Like I don't know. Like I just fucked up this tattoo or what. Like there's a lot to it. There's a lot that goes.
It's a lot. It's this level. A sociologist called Dustin Kiskatten talked about it in his book Blood and Lightning as well. That you don't know it till you're actually tattooing, and I think it was great that he did this ethnobiographic piece on this. I also had him on the podcast about this, but because you don't know it till you're tattooing, it's great that he did that book on it so people might read it like me and know this, but you don't know the level of intimacy, the weird power imbalances in that, and the stress that comes with knowing you're holding this person's not just skin but identity in your hand while you're tattooing, and you can fuck that up.
There's
knowing the possibility of that.
Everything. Everything.
Like you could know, and the more aware you become of the harm you can do, the more you can stress yourself out. But that is also when you begin to be able to prevent it to some extent. But that's the balance thing again, as you're talking about, because you got to know, shit, I got to not overstress myself and not want to tattoo anymore because I feel like shit, I'm just gonna fuck people up. But at the same time, be aware of what the effect you have on people.
What's the quote? Luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. Like I think the preparation part is the part that we're missing nowadays. Where like I think for me personally, and I'm just such a perfectionist on what I do. It probably took me like 2 years-ish and a half to get out of my apprenticeship just because I was scared. I was just like, I don't want to get out here and mess people up or mess up their skin. And then there were moments in the beginning stages where like and it would literally keep me up at night. Like I don't know how. Maybe I should quit. Maybe this is for me. But I really think it takes that level of passion and care to really thrive in the industry. Because that's also what keeps people coming back. There's that customer satisfaction part where you're actually building a connection with people, and you want to make them feel like that you care because you do. And I think that care is also missing. It's the technical piece. It's the care. It's become more of an emphasis on the money grab part of it, or just making the money and not the connections that you could build, not even just with your clients, but with your peers. Because, I've been seeing a lot, you spoke on a little bit, like imposter syndrome. Like, I think a lot of us have been struggling with it lately, where we're just like, I don't know, I'm not that great. I don't think so. I don't know what's going on. And it's tough to navigate. But again, I think once you are able to build community, like within the industry, but also outside the industry, you'll start to realize how normal this is, and how similar. Like
how you're not alone.
Like, like, oh, okay, so this is not okay. I'm tripping, pretty much. Like I'm tripping, and just like I'm doing the things, and it kind of keeps you on your path. And
I mean, there must be some truth to it, because not only have you said community might be an answer to some of this, but my friend all the way over in Australia said the same thing when I spoke with her about this. That this, and I think more and more recognizing this, because I don't think social media is what necessarily was the only reason it sort of disappeared a bit. I think there's some of the hustle culture mentality that's been fed into the industry as well, that's been part of it too, and other aspects of it I could go on and on about. But the truth is that it's recognized by so many now that the community has sort of been loosened and not as tight anymore. And I don't mean in a big hole like everybody that's was just ally together, but more like these local communities artists often had before, both with clients and fellow artists in the studio, so that it's sort of disappeared almost for a lot of people.
I think what's really, from what I've been seeing, there's been more of a microscope on the conduct of these artists and just how
Yeah.
they have been doing business with the clients, with everyone else. I think there's been, like, back then, and it sounds really like crazy and rough and tough, there was a little bit more of an accountability piece where, like, if somebody was doing shitty tattoos in the shop down the street, you'd probably go beat them up. That might be an American thing to say, but there were different standards that were put in place within the industry that made tattooing a little more sacred, where it's like, not everybody just has access to this thing. Like, you really have to have a connectedness to it and the craft and want to grow in this in order to stay within it. And I think because there has been such an influx in that microwave culture and the artists coming in, it's just been harder to do that. You can't.
Yeah.
It's been harder to hold all these artists accountable, and just to kind of keep tattooing sacred, focusing on the art, focusing on the clients, and bringing their ideas to life, and just our why of why we're doing the tattooing in the first place. It's tough.
Well, I think you're right. There's almost two different kinds of tattooers today. There's the people that, like yourself and many others, where it's a lifestyle, it's a choice, it's something that gives you meaning in a sense.
I
Like you
talk
very
about it
much
all
identify
day,
with it.
every
Exactly.
day, wherever I go.
And then there's
off
the
work.
other kind. Then there's the other kind that sort of saw this new money economic opportunity and just want to go in and then do that for people. And
Yeah.
and they often also mainly do fashioning. They don't care much about the art side. They just want an in and out business and stuff like that. I think you're right that it might be to some extent that influx too that have made people lose some of this community. But I also think this might be me being a bit critical, but I think it's also sometimes people are too quick to guard and then they forget to keep touch with people at times. Like they get so quick to be like, oh fuck, it's a risk now, so I'm just gonna pull up the bridges and go in and just protect what I think I love about tattooing, and then they stop like keeping in touch with people. They stop building community. They stop, because the best way to prevent some of this, if you ask me, of course I'm biased as the nerd I am, is education. Like that's the best way sometimes to help and
Always.
maintain community is to
Always.
educate and make people aware of these things. Because some of the people that come in, they might honestly start loving it the same way you do, but they're just not aware because they just saw a quick opportunity in a world that's run amok to make some money, and then they jumped in on tattooing.
I have a lot of people that walk up to me and they express their desire to venture into the field, and I'm not the one that's going to tell you to do it. I'm going to give you the real deal and tell you, like,
you're not the recruitment office.
Do not come to me to recruit. But I will. I'm going to give it to you straight. Like it's hard, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a black.
Oh yeah.
Depending on what background you're coming from, it's so funny. I had this whole discourse in a group. I'm a part of like a black tattoo artist group chat, and there was like this discourse about being a hood tattooer, right? That's a thing out here where there's hood tattooers, and I'm kind of talking about the nuances of this, because I'm like, well, guys, most of us are from the hood. We serve the hood, so we are hood tattoo artists. But there has been such a negative connotation to what that is. It's like basically on par with like a scratcher. And it's like, okay, well, who created these definitions? Like, let's re-educate ourselves on what this is, and let's kind of outgrow, because there's a lot of good parts about the industry, a lot of great standards that we have in place that kind of keep things level, but there's some other standards that we have in place that are also holding us back, or it's not allowing us to be able to express ourselves fully. To be able to reach a certain clientele that we want to reach, whatever. So I just think it's important to have the uncomfortable conversations whatever they may be. Because there's been a lot. There's been so many little shifts where, okay, you have the people in the industry that are doing the tattoo schools or whatever, and because they're so successful in what they do, now they are now equating that to like life success, to where now I can teach you how to live your life. Now I can teach you how to I can give you different challenges to create discipline in your life, or I can teach you how to do some breath work.
Yeah.
When y'all are just tattoo artists.
If only psychology was that easy that it was a one size fits all.
I would not be in debt. I would not be in debt from these school loans. You know, like that's
But it's an interesting thing you said there about the hood tattooing that I also thought about with mental health, that when people throw a label on you in that way, that also hits your mental. Because I would imagine that there's more than a few people that might, because of out of necessity on where they are allowed to become an apprentice, allowed to use the quotation marks here, but with stigma and prejudice, not everybody's going to open that door, for example, to a young black woman that wants to learn to tattoo. Yeah. So where you get to learn, they might be like, oh yeah, but you're a hood tattooer. It's like, but I want to do something else. Oh no, but you're a hood tattooer now. Like that also hurts your mental health to some extent, because you are all, at least speaking from outside, sensitive art kids that want to create art.
All of it.
Yeah, so that hurts too. Like, for example, let's say somebody knew your background from that, and they came up to you and said, "Oh yeah, you do good shit now, but you're a hood tattooer." And it's like, why? Why would you do? Like,
I've had a shop owner. I've had a shop owner tell me that, and honestly, when he said it, I didn't even know he was trying to offend me when he said it. I was just like, well, I am from
bitch, please.
I am from impoverished areas, and I serve in those communities. I mean, I didn't know he was trying to offend me until I had a conversation with other tattoo artists, and I'm like, oh, well, now I feel stupid because I didn't get offended when I was supposed to. But again, I think these standards that the hood tattoo artists, I think these are white, these are white male standards that that we as black artists are trying to live up to, and it's like these standards weren't really created for us to live up to. We can't.
Generally speaking, anyways, like even if you look at white women in the industry, they also often get held up to these standards set by older white,
They're having
because they're like, oh, that's a girly tattoo style. Like, well, who the fuck says, who the fuck? Or you don't know how to. Like, there's so many of these socially constructed ideals and norms and stuff like that often are just there because people want to put people in boxes, and it's not good for the mental. It's not good for the art. It's not good for pressure or burnout or anything like this, because it just makes you feel like, okay, so if they don't want to play by their rules, they're going to try and trip me up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel like too, I don't think we really take into account how vulnerable everyone is coming into this space. Like, not just the clients that want something from us, but also us as artists. Like, this is very therapeutic to us, just as it is to the client. So I think a lot of the times we're coming in with like a lot of our own personal things, and it's also taking away from us being able to be present with the now and with our craft and with our clients, with our peers. And you'll find too, it's just interesting, like how the industry has kind of put different, because we talked a little bit about the community piece and how things aren't as communal. And I think it's a lot of, we're being put against each other.
I think that's very true, Sadie. I will say, just to clarify, I do think people still try to find community out there, but just the industry as a whole, sadly, seems a lot more, like when you look at it and generalize, like an overview of the whole industry globally, there's a lot more focus on competition and how can you be the best artist, instead of just like, hey man, how can we all come together and make great tattoos for our clients? Like,
or just like you'll have other artists kind of making just guilt tripping. They're making content for other artists, but they're not like doing it in an empowering way. It's like, oh, hey, you saying that you have last minute cancellations is broke behavior.
Yeah.
That is why
This is-
you're not. That is why you don't have.
Oh, you preaching to the choir, sister. You know how I feel about this whole hustle culture thing in tattooing, but it's like, no, you gotta never admit that it's not going, that you have a day open. You gotta always look busy. It's
You
like,
gotta
no,
be. You gotta look booked. You can't
I thought about this even preparing for the interviews today. Not even that it was on topic as such, I thought, but I keep thinking there's so many artists today that are caught up in trying to run tattooing like it's big business and it's corporate
We did
business.
not get into
Whereas you're
that.
not that. You're not that. And that, I mean, it's also on the topic of mental health because the thing is, you can't expect not to burn out when you try to run small business like it's big competition
corporation.
corporate business. It's just not how it works.
We're not getting any medical benefits. We're not getting
No.
any paid time off. I'm not getting any dental. I don't get paid hourly. I am an independent contractor. I get paid by what I do, and
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I'm just like, why? We did not get into this to be in corporate. We would have just applied for a corporate job. We would have took the drug test and all that. We did this to have the freedom. We did this to have the freedom and the luxury of being artists.
Yeah.
You know? Now, do we want a little more security? Yes.
Of course.
But you'll find too. There's a lot of tattoo artists that again take advantage of people in vulnerable positions. So they'll have you working on a 50% without you having to buy your own supplies, you having to find your own clients, and it's just like I can't even enjoy what I'm doing right now because I'm focusing so hard on how to survive. So
that is a big part of it as well that I think is weirdly missed at times. I've been fortunate to speak to a lot of really passionate people on this podcast. It might be difficult to notice for people that might follow the podcast the sort of trail of what leading up to what I'm saying now. But when you meet artists in general out there, a lot of them get, as I know you've also talked about before, burned out and lose the enjoyment of tattooing. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like one of the main reasons you went into an untraditional job and industry is because you want to enjoy what you do for a living. And that's a big part of it. And that is something that needs to you need to sort of constantly, for lack of a better term, look inward sometimes and say, am I still enjoying this? Is there something I can do different to get the joy back from what I'm doing?
Why did I start doing it?
Because you see people, exactly as you say there, that in the name of survival do all sorts of stuff that might extract all the joy out of them actually working in tattooing, and that harms you. Like that I cannot say it more clearly. That will also basically you'll run out into depression at some point.
Absolutely.
When that happens.
It literally leads to a state of physical, mental, and emotional burnout. Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
So where you don't even have you only have the energy to get certain tasks done for the day, but you don't have too much more energy to get anything else done. So it's tricky, and I think again, balance is the name of the game. Knowing
absolutely
and balance and boundaries. Not just having boundaries with your clients, but with your peers too. I think sometimes we give our peers a little more free reign because they're our peers. When it's just like you should understand better than anyone what I'm going through. So that there should be no pressure coming from you because we've all been here. Regardless of how established you are in your career, we've all had these lows. We've had slow seasons. We've had moments where we just don't have the energy to tattoo. So, and we don't need to make people feel guilty about that. It's already hard trying to navigate everything else, political climates, everything else. Like, we don't have to apply that extra pressure to people.
I also think, and you might be more aware of this because you have the background you do outside of tattooing as well, and like myself in the social sciences, but I think often tattoo artists, not all, I mean, there are some absolutely brilliant people out there as well. I just want to clarify that before I say this, but a lot of artists, I think, forget that not just because if one thing works for them, it might not work for the other person.
It's not a one size fits all. Yeah.
Exactly. So for example, some are fucking brilliant when it's like, oh, I work best under pressure. I just want to have all this, I just want to be challenged all the time. Others are not like that. Others, as weird as it may sound, especially to American ears sometimes, where more hustle cultures where we beat into you from very young there. Some people thrive more like, oh, I just want to want to feel praised for it? Do I want to enjoy the art? Do I want to, like there's a whole spectrum to it. Like there's just so many different ways of going about it. That's the beauty of the freedom of the industry. But we often hear like people that you say come out and suddenly they're coaches and experts and all that and say, no, you got to do this. And if you do this, you're going to suddenly have success. But that's not how creative work works. You can't just say, well, this worked for me, so it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
You can teach people stuff. You can teach people, for example, oh, there's this managing software. Perhaps that might work for you. Oh, there's this thing I use to email with my clients. Oh, I use this needle for this type of tattooing. And like, you can teach all this stuff, and it may help and work. But the beauty of your job is that you figure out what works for you as well.
Absolutely. I think that's the beauty I think that's where the importance of networking and building community with other people, where that comes in handy. So I'm able, and also just being a student of your craft, giving a fuck enough to want to be better and grow and know, and like, oh, hey, I'm having problems with this. How do I fix this? And I think it is like a trial and error. Everything is trial and error. Life is trial and error. So, I've had many people say, hey, you need to tattoo this way. And then I've done it and I'm like, I hate this. This is terrible. But then somebody else gave me another way to try. I tried that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna apply this to my tool belt. I think it's just about what works for you personally.
Absolutely.
And not, because I think, again, a lot of people are just trying to create little replicas of them. Like a little cult, if you will. And not really taking into account. It's like any leader or anybody in a leadership position or a coach or a teacher, like you're taking into account everybody's strengths and weaknesses or their backgrounds or their traumas, or some things aren't going to work for everybody. And I think it's very predatory to just say, hey, this is going to work. Pay me $300 a week. I can guarantee that your work.
Take my 6-week course and we'll have you earning 6 figures. And if you don't,
a whole other person afterwards with no testimonials, with no background research, with nothing to validate. Like this is going to guarantee me 100K followers, or this is going to guarantee me 100K in the bank. Just being realistic about what it is. And I feel like every industry goes through the same thing, and I'm not sure why ours is so.
It's like, you see some of the same predatory aspects in the corporate world as well, which again, I don't know why the two world tries to replicate that right now with all these coaches being around. But for example, another toxic trait I find in many coaches is, and I get that they do this to protect their business, but that is sort of part of it, is that if it doesn't work, you didn't follow it correctly. But that's, again, that requires that you subscribe to a one-size-fits-all mentality. Like if it didn't work, you didn't do it correctly.
You're the problem.
The blame is on you. If you only teach one way, the blame can never be on the student. It's on the teacher.
It's on the teacher. Yeah.
If you teach in a one-to-one way where you're like, oh, let's figure out what works for you, then this whole dichotomy between where does the blame lie disappears, because you're figuring out what works for the individual.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we were just having a little kind of discourse about this in our group chat yesterday, because there was an artist that posted about how having more than one apprentice in the shop is like terrible, or like you're not a good mentor. And I'm like, well, that's just like saying having more than one kid is like making you a bad parent. No, it's it's the energy. It's like
that's up to you. If you can't manage more than one apprentice in your studio, that's fine. But you can't just blanket statement it and say, oh, that's just terrible. No studios that have more than one apprentice.
Like maybe they're actually working and they're actually learning and they're actually growing. I think it's about what the mentor is providing to the apprentice. And if you're just, because there's some mentors out here that, they've had apprentices for 2-3 years. They're not learning, not getting better. They're not trying to get better, and they're okay with that. I just think we're not being realistic about what it really requires to just withstand.
But as you said that, and I think it's very much along the lines of the mental health thing, that like, if we're honest and open with ourselves, some people can manage to have one apprentice and they want to have just one around the studio, fine. If that's where your capacity is, that's absolutely great. But to my point, like, others will be like, no, we can all have an apprentice and it works out fine. They all learn from each other and they help each other learn from what we're doing. Like this. there's not a size fits all here. Like it's about figuring out what works for you, and if you're in a studio, where we're all standing here, like open communication, being aware of like where's our boundaries here. Do we think we can handle 2 or 3 of the princesses? Do we think we only can handle 1? You know that, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm biased as a sociologist. I always hate when people go, "Oh, no, this is just how it is."
Yeah.
Like,
And you know,
I experienced this, so this is how it is for everyone. No, this is never the case.
hustle culture has bred the worst, most entitled tattoo artists that I've ever seen. Just the ones that they compare themselves to, because I've been tattooing for 11 years now, and you'll have people that have been tattooing for like 2 or 3, and they're like, well, I mean, you're all booked up and stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, because I busted my ass to do that. I'm putting myself out there. I'm creating. I'm networking even when I'm not in the shop. If I see a tattoo in the grocery store, I'm passing out my business card. So it's just, there's different way. Like, you have to make it happen for yourself. You can't wait. You can't wait for your mentor to make it happen. Like, they're gonna get you in the door, but you got to walk through it. And how you walk through it is up to you. Some people walk in backwards, and that's okay.
But I think another aspect of the hustle culture thing, which I mean, it's really seeped into every tattoo culture around the world. It may have originated in America, hustle culture, when you look at it historically, but the fact of the matter is, it very quickly ties success in any capacity to monetary gain.
Yeah.
So I think, sadly, that develops one massive problem here, because any artist that makes it automatically will believe that, well, they're entitled to that success because they have the money, and they're the greatest because they had that. Yet you can make lots of money not being that great at tattooing, by just advertising yourself correctly.
Yeah.
But it also automatically breeds the mentality that for the others, if they subscribe to the same thing, that, oh, if I'm not making a lot of money, I'm shit at what I'm doing.
Or the lack of, like, the whole K behind your followers thing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like because somebody has a lot of followers, they're booked and busy, you can't talk to them, you can't reach them, and no, they're struggling too. They're just not going to tell you they're struggling, because they have put on this persona that, they have it all. They got it all figured out.
But that's the other aspect that comes with hustle culture. It tabooifies not being great. It makes it a taboo to not have success, and we've coupled with social media, that also forces very subtly has made us all be like, no, we can't advertise failure or not feeling great or struggling. We have to only show positivity and prosperity out facing the world.
Yeah.
That's not healthy. Like, they should be more okay to admit openly.
Yeah, I actually do.
Which I think some people are getting better at that.
Yeah.
Like, looking at it great generally, but it still is a lot of this thing with, like, oh, you can't openly say, oh, I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. I would.
No, I know.
I would tell, you know me. I would tell a stranger on the street that I'm having a tough time.
Things are tough, man.
Yeah, but I also think that just goes into like, just the lack of needing that external validation. Like, I don't need anyone to make me feel better or worse about my situation. It is what it is. I feel how I feel about it. So I'm going to have that experience. And because a lot of people are also having this experience, they're just like, oh yeah, well, I just, I don't feel comfortable talking about these things. But being the person that's like, hey, I'm fucked up out here. It's hard trying to figure it out. It makes a lot more other people feel comfortable to be like, you know what? Everybody, I'm having a tough day. And
but that's the thing. Honesty often is the first step to breeding more community.
And more community. People don't even. I'm like, you don't even understand how many people are going through the same thing that you're going through right now, but you're isolating yourself, or you're making you're telling yourself that, like, I don't want to inconvenience this person. I don't want to come off in this way. I don't want this person to view me as this. Forget all. None of that matters. None of that matters. All that matters is how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life. Are you enjoying what you do? If not, how can we pivot? Like, how can we make this life something more enjoyable for you? Because it's never too late to start over. And we always have the power to pivot.
Yeah.
Having to pivot my whole career. I think it's just having the courage and the energy to just get up again after you've been knocked down. Yeah, it's easy to get knocked down in this industry, but it's I think it's easier to, I guess, not stay down. For me, I'll get knocked down a little bit, but that's just my motivation to get up and keep going even harder. But I know that's difficult for a lot of people, and I also know that I have the mental health tools to kind of help me navigate a lot of these things. But that's why I also feel like I've been trying to focus more on mental health content in general.
Yeah.
Especially coming from somebody like me. I'm a goofball. People know me as like the life of the party. I'm always like out and about. So they don't really know that there is this when I tell them like, yeah, I'm a counselor, they're like, you're a counselor? Like, yeah. Yeah. And it's easier to hear this information from me as opposed to like somebody in a suit that's really stuck.
No, absolutely.
Or pretentious.
There's more of a peer-to-peer recognition as well. Like,
we're just having a conversation. It's not therapy. Exactly. We're having therapeutic conversation, but this ain't therapy. So yeah, I have to tell people that all the time. Like, they think because I'm a counselor that I'm doing therapy all the time. I'm like, no, I'm just asking. No. I'm listening to you. I'm just asking questions, and this is what this is right now. So yeah.
But I mean, you did make some brilliant posts. For example, we talked a bit about this, but you made a great one about burnout, for example, where we both showed some research and also some of the experiences you had yourself.
Yeah.
With it.
For sure. It's very real. I don't think it's just not something that's really acknowledged or talked. It's something that we all experience, but something we don't fully acknowledge. And I think it has a lot to do with the instability of the industry, like us getting paid by what we do. And if we don't work, we don't get paid. So there's definitely more of a pressure to perform and to be great and to show up, and even when you don't want to. And it's easy to get burnt out when you're overbooking clients or you're taking on too many creative projects and not really taking any creative breaks. Too much social media. I've been doing I've been listening to this podcast. It's like a therapy podcast. They were talking about how being on social media too much creates fatigue, creates depression. It breeds resentment and comparison. And just being able to like disconnect from we need it, yes, for our businesses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Being able to step away from it is also super, super important.
Well,
super important. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's also that I said this in the previous episode where I discussed it with my Spanish friend from Australia, where the thing is, and I think a lot of people sadly burn out because they feel ashamed taking these breaks. They feel like they constantly have to be working, because there's this hostile culture mentality in the tattoo world. But the thing is, what really gets the creative juices flowing again is taking a break, taking me time, enjoying your other hobbies and interests and stuff like that. That's what inspires you and gets you going again often.
I have a theory. I think
at the back of the class, yes.
I have a theory, yes. I think a lot of artists struggle with avoidance. I think they struggle a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna say all, but a good bit of artists, especially the men, struggle with avoidance, and them being able to dive into their work and be busy, it kind of it kind of like delays them from having to be present.
It makes the stuff go away, like
whatever they have going on, it kind of just makes it, kind of delays it a little bit. So I think that's a part of it too. I mean, I have a couple friends that do the same.
I think that's very real, very true.
I was just talking to one of my friends, a part of my collective, the Safe Space, and she was she was telling me like, I feel like I've been moving, and now that I've actually sat down, like, I'm sad. I'm crying. Like, I've been crying and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you need to do that. Like,
I mean, we're emotional creatures. You have to feel shit.
Take a day to process what you're feeling. This is the only way to go through or to get through anything is to go through it. So you need time to actually sit.
Avoiding reflection and confronting emotions and stuff like that, all difficulties that pop up in that, or taking that breather to be creative again and feel like yourself again, that just makes the problem bigger and bigger the longer you avoid it.
Like you're constipated.
Only escalates it.
Yeah, it's just you're just emotionally constipated. And,
absolutely.
And then you're just gonna get to a point where it just comes to a head, and we're all gonna be feeling.
That's when you burn out or have a breakdown.
Have a breakdown, yeah, or like you're making posts about, I just can't do this anymore. We all need time. We need to be able to set boundaries with our clients, with our peers.
Absolutely.
And be okay with that. We need to be able to schedule actual off days where we're actually off and not doing anything tattoo.
I think that is so important because I think a lot of artists fall into they almost get trained into a workaholic state where they don't feel safe taking a day off or planning that real day off in the week, where they don't answer emails, they don't go on social media, they don't do anything to do with the studio work and everything, but they just take a day off.
Yeah, there's like a little American quote that says, "Too much all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," or something. That's very true.
I did not imagine we would quote The Shining, but it is oddly fitting in a mental health episode to quote The Shining.
You need time to enjoy your joys and to actually, be present with your family, be present with you and the things that you enjoy. Because that's how this turns into a job. Instead of it being something that you're passionate about and you love, it turns into something you hate. And so
we also have to remember we don't work to work; we work to live.
Right.
Like that. And I get tattooing as a lifestyle, and it often becomes part of who you are, really tied into that. But you still need time off.
Yeah. There's times where I'm literally drunk at a bar, and people are, I gotta get a tattoo from you. Let me tell you this tattoo I did. How about we do this when I'm not drunk? How about we do this?
That is just class advice for any tattoo artist. Just like
I'll be buying feminine products. And people will walk up to me. I'm like, hey, I'm not at the shop right now. I don't talk about shop stuff unless I'm at the shop.
That's just, that's honestly a tattoo etiquette we need to teach people in general. That you don't go up to a plumber when you meet them on a night out. Hey man, can you come? Like, I have problems with my piping in my house. Can you come fix that tomorrow? Yeah. No, they're on a night out.
Yeah, and I think when people don't work on commission, that happens. Where it's like you're kind of pump faking me. It's like, I'm gonna get a tattoo. I'm coming to see you for a tattoo, but you never do. And it's like,
that's the other end of it. That it gets doubly annoying because most 99% of people that ever come up to you when you're out and about like that in a bar or out shopping and that and say, "Oh, you're a tattoo artist. I'm gonna come and get a tattoo." They never fucking come around and get a tattoo.
Okay. You could just ask me how I'm doing. You could just ask me what I got going on.
That's the real catfishing happening with tattoo artists.
That's the pressure of having the tattoo artist friend. You feel like you have to talk because they do tattoos. You have to talk to them about tattoos. You don't. You can just. I'm a regular person. Ask me how my mom's doing. I got a mom. Ask me how ask me how my family's doing. There's other life outside of tattooing. Even though it is my life, I do have a life.
I think that's that's actually a really great point that I do want your take on as well, because when I interviewed Xia, the other artist I talked about mental health with recently, she also said that, for example, during COVID, she had to figure out suddenly, who am I outside of tattooing? Because she's just been working, it's a bit along the lines of the avoidance thing. She's just been working, and suddenly she couldn't, and she didn't know what to do with herself. Yeah. And I think that's another important side of it, that no matter how big of a part of yourself tattooing becomes, or anything becomes really, career-wise, you still got to know who you are outside of that as well. Have a core to yourself,
we weren't tattooing out the womb. There was definitely passions and interests and hobbies that we enjoyed before that completely took over our lives. So I think I'm really big on connecting with your inner child and doing things that you used to do when you were a kid to kind of keep you grounded. I do that, whatever, I used to go outside. So I've
seen your Legos.
Yeah, I am an avid, I have a Lego bouquet right in front of me.
You're making your Danish friend very proud right now.
Yes, I'm glad.
And you're welcome for the Lego.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Yes, I have my Legos, I have my video games, I have him hanging out with my friends, I have going out in nature.
But I think that's the great thing. It's like a lecturer once said to me, all the way back when I was doing my undergraduate in sociology, that he once said to us that you can't just constantly be in analyzing mode or reading mode and stuff like that. To be a great sociologist, you also have to live life.
You got to experience it. Yeah.
You can't just be an expert on society, people, and culture without actually taking part in society, people, and culture.
Correct. And that's the scary part, right? That's the unpredictable part. But I also think that's the beautiful part, because I love that I'm able to, that we're able to link up and have and pick each other's brains, but also see the similarities that
Yeah.
we experience just in our day to day. As you being a sociologist, me being into mental health, but also us being in the tattoo industry on different sides of it. So I love it. I think people should do a better job of taking advantage of it. I think you don't grow from being comfortable, you grow from being uncomfortable. So sometimes you got to do the uncomfortable thing and like do something different from what isn't probably working for you already.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I definitely
But
appreciate all the perspective and the everything.
I will say along the lines of what you said there, that's exactly why you also gotta, maintain a sense of self by doing stuff outside of just working, because that also
So
makes you feel more secure in taking a risk here and there, or doing something different in another aspect. You feel like, oh yeah, it's not gonna ruin everything that's me.
yeah,
You know.
I will credit tattooing for helping me actually find my identity and finding my voice.
Yeah.
Um, because what I find a lot of the times is that the more confident I became in myself and the happier I became myself, the more unhappy other people were with me, like just stepping into that. Especially
Yeah.
because I'm just a very vocal person, and especially when it
Yeah.
comes to like injustices of any kind.
Yeah.
So me being people don't like vocalness. People don't. A lot of people don't really like.
Especially not vocal women, oftentimes.
Yes, and
Sorry to say.
accountability, and it's like if somebody has to do it. If not, because everyone's taking this stance on like you got to pick and choose your battles and everything can't be. But I think sometimes these things happened, so it could be a teachable moment for whoever it's happening to. Like you fucked up with me, so I can get you, so I can re-educate you on the right way to go about doing this.
Yes.
I think it takes having those important, uncomfortable conversations that
I
people
think
don't have.
that's very much true.
Oh.
Doubly so in speaking from a male perspective in the male space, that we're very bad at holding other men accountable sometimes. And in the tattoo, I mean,
It's like
for someone in the
ooh,
tattoo industry, talk of mental health, there's a lot of women that would feel a lot safer if a lot more male tattoo artists would actually confront other
their
male artists about
part,
bad practice.
yeah, or their business part,
About, oh,
whatever.
don't do that, or you can't do, like, yeah, like there's a lot more safety in men also being part of the solution in this aspect, to put it bluntly.
There's data that shows that men listen to men more, and women even listen to men more than they listen
Yeah,
to women.
sad but
So
true.
it's like if men did step up more, if men did hold more people accountable, I think there
Yeah.
would be more of the change would happen a little bit faster. Like it's happening, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
slow. But
Yeah.
but if we had everybody on board, because what I find too, there's a lot of people that play both sides of the fence. Like they'll say, "Hey, I agree with you. This is fucked up." They are terrible people, but they're also like,
But let me go get mine.
but they're also just like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna say anything about it. Like I know it's fucked up, but I'm not gonna say
Hold on.
anything
Yeah,
about it being
I
fucked
know
up."
it's fucked up. Oh, I'm not gonna tell them,
Yeah, I
but
know.
it's fucked up.
Like I agree. Like I am outraged with you, but you're not outraged enough to say something about it like I am. So that's a big part too. I think we just need to really, again, the community piece, having each other's back,
Yeah.
really like holding each other accountable. I'm held accountable every day of my fucking life, whether I want to be or not. But I also accept it because I want to be a better person. I don't want
Yeah.
to cause harm in any kind of way. So if someone could bring something to my attention where I may be doing that, like let me know so I can adjust. I may
I mean,
not be able
life's the
to.
eternal lesson.
Yeah, you got to be willing. You got to be open to the lessons,
Yeah.
but willing to
I think
change.
there's also the fact, sort of tie a bow on this
Yeah,
very beautiful point you put out. There's also the fact that not only you've got to be willing to learn, but you also got to be willing to not feel ashamed of changing. Because I think a lot of people are like, no, because that means I don't stand by my word, or that I didn't like, I don't have conviction or whatever. But the thing
yeah,
is, there's a beautiful thing to knowing you were wrong. There's a beautiful thing to acknowledging that and being willing to change.
absolutely.
Like that shows strength, actually, rather than weakness. Being able
Yeah,
to admit, you know what, that was fucked up of me, or you know what, I was wrong about that, and I've learned my lesson. I've
There are
changed, I've improved, you know.
there are so many artists that are struggling right now. Cause I've been seeing a lot of like posts, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to quit tattooing after this amount of. I've been tattooing for 20 years. Things have just been, I've been trying to do all the things, and it's just not working for me." I'm like, it's not. I think it's deeper than your work. I
Yeah,
think I think it's deeper than your work. I think it could probably be your mentality when it comes to a lot of these things, because a lot of people too, really stuck in the ways of old, like, and it's really
yeah,
hard to get out of that. Where word of mouth was like suffice, and you don't really have to do too much.
yeah.
And I just
Well, it's that, and the fact that clients are becoming wise to that. Oh, there's so many artists out there, so I'd rather go to
there's
somebody
look,
that does this well, but treats me
but
like
check
I want to
all
be
the
treated. You
boxes.
know.
Like,
Yeah,
you're not gonna treat me like shit. You're not gonna make me wait on you, or you're gonna actually talk to me in my sessions and stuff, and not be so standoffish or make me feel weird.
yeah.
It and too, there's a lot of weirdos in this industry, unfortunately.
I mean, that's the entire one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and a lot, and
Well,
again,
there's the good and the bad kind of weirdo. And I will say
there's good
there's a
weirdos.
lot of lovable weirdos in the
We are the
industry.
good weirdos.
Oh yeah,
We
I
are the
would hope so.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna
We are the good weirdos, but like, there's just some people out here that are just like, they probably just didn't get that opportunity growing up. They were
Yeah,
bullied.
yeah,
Tattooing made them cool. Tattooing gave
yeah.
them the lifestyle that they finally
That reminds me of something total along the lines of the mental health thing.
mm,
That for some people, like for me, I love tattoos whether they're popular or not.
yeah,
I don't care. I don't
yeah.
care what other
For
people
me,
think. I just
no,
love being tattooed. But
yeah,
for others, they often, you see with all the male tattoo artists often as well, they're like, no man, we need to go back to when it was underground because that's when it was cool to be tattooed, when it was dangerous. It's like, then you don't like tattooing. You like the byproduct from
yes.
back
You
then
like
of
the
being
culture.
tattooed.
You like the
You
culture.
like what it did to how people interacted with you back then.
Yeah.
Then do something else. Go out and flash a gun or fucking buy a knife.
Go
Or,
rob a bank.
if you want to be dangerous, then commit, man. But
Yeah. Go all the way.
if you miss the easy way out to being dangerous, then you just had to be a sensitive art kid and then tattoo yourself, and then you were suddenly dangerous or underground. That's not actually liking tattooing. That's liking the easy way to being dangerous.
Yeah. And especially now where people are like able to get numbing cream and anesthesia. Like, yeah, like this used to be like, if you had a tattoo or you were heavily tattooed, you were not a dangerous guy, but you were somebody not to be played with. Like, you are somebody to be taken seriously. And now,
Yeah.
you got I got grown men using like numbing cream on the arms, and
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, yeah. On the arms.
it's
I
crazy.
mean, I've had back teen while I'm mid, like it was
That's
really sensitive
okay.
stuff, but that's fun,
That's
you know.
okay. Yeah, some people just
So you
want
have to
to
have
not hurt.
started to get that done. Like,
They don't want to feel it at
never
all.
used numbing yet though. Never
Yeah,
used numbing yet.
they
I
don't want to
just
feel it at all. So it's just
maybe I'm just
like,
broken inside. I kind of want to feel the pain.
I think that's been the motivation for me to do it without numbing cream. Like, just, we have to keep it sacred. We got to keep tattooing how it has always been remembered this entire time. Like, you're supposed to feel it. That's a part of the process.
I think that the simplest way I can put it is I don't try to scare anyone away from tattooing, but I'm also not recruiting members to the club.
Not recruiting.
I think people that really want it should always be allowed in, no matter who they are, where they're
Yeah.
from, or their background. But people that just in the moment think it's cool, those are the ones we can shame out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Shame out sounds so horrible that I hope it comes across lighter than I mean it. Than I said it, because I don't think like.
I was hoping you would say stone them, but I can take.
No.
Okay, sorry.
You're very much the devil out of us two in this sense. Like, I'm not gonna.
Good cop over there, bad cop over here.
Absolutely, I'm the softy here. I may say stuff very honestly sometimes. There's always been a reflected analysis, whereas my colleague here will absolutely tear your shit up, as they say.
Guns blazing, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
On that note, I've kept you for quite a while. It's always a joy to talk to you, CeeJ.
The pleasure is mine.
But I gotta come up with a new fun question to wind down, because we've been having fun, but we've been talking about some deep shit. So it's always great to wind down at the end here. And what better to ask the cover up queen herself than what's the weirdest thing you've had to cover up this year? This year, just because I know it's been a lot over your career, so let's just keep it to this year.
Oh man, this year, I'm God. I think there was one where it was like I was covering up a name. I don't think I ever posted it, but it was like Rodney's bitch or something. Yeah, it.
Damn.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it gets really hectic.
well, you were just like, girl, that's.
I'm like, what is Rodney doing? Like,
I
Rodney.
saw a worse one than that, and I hope this is like. Do you know when you see one when you think, you know what? In this day and age, I hope this is one of the AI ones.
Oh,
Like, as much as I hate AI, I hope this is one of the ones that is a fake video. These are not real people. Because I saw a woman that was in, and it was somewhere in Florida. Because, yeah,
yeah.
and she had a massive black cock tattooed on her back, and then it said the guy's name on the side. I hope that's fake. Like, I really hope there's not a real person that did that.
You actually wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
no, I mean, I've seen some weird shit tattooed on them. So I've seen guys get pussies tattooed on them and all that stuff. I've seen all sorts of shit.
I follow this one gay tattoo artist, and it's important to say this because this is how he advertises. But like, all he tattoos are like naked gay men doing something sexual.
That's almost better than just having a really graphic dick, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you. Okay. But I'm gonna send you a page right now. But yeah, I was just like, I mean, hey, people are buying it. People are setting the appointment.
I mean, I've seen people that do actual scenes from hentai from hentai manga, you know, from porn manga.
Yeah.
Like, it's and I don't mind as much, but it's wild to get a guy you have been dating, not just name, but actual dick tattooed on you.
I'm sending you the profile as we speak. So you can check that off when we get off air. But it's intense. But I truly enjoyed you. I always enjoy our conversation.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You're a great person to talk to. If you need more people to talk to, I can set that up. You just let me know. It's always a pleasure to pick your brain, but to have my brain picked by you. So thank you for having me, for sure.
Right. So, as a reminder, I mean, of course, it goes without saying, thank you as always for being on here. You're always great. You're always there when I ask you to be on stuff and all this stuff. It's fucking wonderful to know somebody like you that's also willing to share your knowledge and experiences. But for people that don't know, where can they find more CeeJ? Because I bet they're dying to see more, especially with the advertising and what goes on in your stories. Like, it is a party over there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so CeeJ, the artist, on all social media handles, for real. CEE, the letter J, the artist. I also have a really dope collective of Black female tattoo artists called The Safe Space. So you can find us at _Safe Space with 2 A's in space. We're working on getting on every social media platform. That's on the rise.
Yeah, nice.
You can find. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. If you ever need a cover up or enhancement, anything, some therapy comes with the tattoo. Outside tattoo. But yeah, that is where you
should charge double, to be honest, for that.
will be. So yeah. I truly enjoy you. Thank you for having me on here. Yeah.
Thank you too, and thank you to anybody who's listened or watched this episode, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Hello everybody, I hope you enjoyed this awesome returning episode of CeeJ. It's great to dive more into her other expertise as a mental health coach and counselor with her master's degree background within mental health and that. And also once switching the lens away from focusing on client mental health and actually focusing on tattoo artist mental health. As having listened to or watched the episode, you'll know is more rare than you would think that one focuses on the mental health tattoo artists. And next time we're in a way continuing down the mental health route. I have the tattoo collector Evan Duswald on The podcast inspired very much by an article he did for the awesome platform Co-Create about reclaiming and claiming identity, both post-trauma, but also just to sort of claim a sense of self in a way through collecting tattoos. It'll be much clearer once you actually enjoy the full episode, which you'll get in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, I look forward to that.